Welcome back to another episode of the Purple Rain Podcast. Once again, welcome back to the Purple Rain Podcast. It's been a little while, but we are back. So happy to see your faces. You can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast. You can follow this guy on Instagram, on Twitter at SuttonDef. Follow me on Instagram at simplyas10.prod and on Twitter at simplyas10. It's episode 155. When we're talking about 55s with Ravens, Terrell sucks. Pretty sure Jamie Sharp was 55 too, but people think Terrell sucks.
It's Sizzle.
But most importantly, it's Sizzle. Most importantly, our sponsor, Manscaped. All right.
Yes.
I actually was just on vacation and I used the shed.
Okay.
I cannot speak highly enough of this shed. I got my vitamins in there. Gotta have your daily vitamins. I had my razor in there. I had just the travel necessities. Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Even if you're not a man, you can definitely get that used as a woman. I think perfect. You can use the code PRP to save you 20% off your Manscaped order and free shipping.
Free shipping. That's always the kicker, man. And just to kind of touch back on the shed bag. That thing, just the material on it. I love the material. So smooth, and then just like the color on it, it's just so like very, very neutral. Very.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's something that you would get out of like a Target. By the way, they actually do sell Manscaped at Target. For those of you guys who didn't know, they sell it all over. But you can't get 20% off if you go to Target and buy it. You got to buy it online. Use our code PRP, get 20% off, plus the free shipping, so you don't got to worry about even leaving the house. But listen, man, that shed is the real deal. But like my guy Alex said, thank you guys for coming into this show, episode 155 of the Purple Rain Podcast. We appreciate you guys so much. It has been a little while. We are back. We're in full effect. And the Rain Gang is here too. So you already see we got Mod K-Dog in the building. Shout out to K-Dog. Here since day 0, actually. Hashtag replay gang. Death to Beta says we in here. What's going on, Beta? Appreciate you for pulling up, coming through. Sports Gaming YouTube in the house says, yo, what's up, Purple Rain gang? Yeah, what's going on, bro? Long time no see. NFL Prod in the house. My guy Dre is in here as well. We got Yolanda in the house too. Says, good evening, Rain gang. What's going on, Yolanda? Good evening to you as well. J Prime 235, you're right. We are back. We are here. Listen, man, if you're part of the live chat right now, go ahead and show us some love down in the comments, man. Go show us some love in the live chat. We want to see that you guys are in here, see that the Rain Gang is in full effect. Now, listen, if you guys are not watching this live right now, and you are part of the hashtag replay gang, thank you so much. Special thank you to you for coming out and listening to this episode or watching this episode of the Purple Rain Podcast. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. We'd appreciate that. All right. So, Alex, we got a couple things to get into. So, obviously, the biggest news of this offseason so far for the Ravens is that, the Ravens didn't fire. They parted ways with Greg Roman and then hired Todd Monken for offensive coordinator. Now, all of you guys know Todd Monken, former Georgia offensive coordinator the past couple seasons, won the past 2 national championships. He's, elevated quarterbacks here and there. So we're excited to, see what he does with this offense and see what his exact plan is. And he just had a press conference the other day. Now, I want to throw it to my guy, Alex. I want to know what he took away mainly from this press conference. Like, what did you like? What did you hear?
Well, what I heard was him talking about other receivers that honestly aren't even on this team. One being Odell Beckham Jr., other being Jarvis Landry. That was interesting to me, guys he's worked with before. But him kind of already mentioning names, obviously I don't think we'll sign either one of them, but just hearing that he kind of has a mold of a receiver he wants to get and wants to work with. And, he really didn't have to mention their names. He could say, yeah, I work with them pretty good. And he even mentioned, the guys back in Tampa, Mike Evans, who could be a free agent, could be a cap casualty. Mentioned, Chris Godwin as well. Hearing that, kind of knowing where his priority is really promising for me. I don't want to sound like a homer, like a Purple Patrol person, but I'm really excited for Todd Monken. Just hearing him talk, he even dropped the S-bomb in his opening presser. He dropped one of those, and I'm like, like I said before, I was like, I like my offensive coordinator with a little bit of a loose screw, and he has that loose screw. I can just see him now in the booth after we're gonna start the season off. First drive touchdown, he's gonna be there going crazy, hitting everybody's hands. But just hearing him kind of knowing what this offense needs to build on, and I really hope that EDC in the front office give him those tools. I said in one of my comments on my channel, I'm tired of the band-aids because you think about a band-aid, uh, you wash your hand, water gets on, it's going to come off. Tired of the band-aids. We need a proven receiver that can just stitch it up and fix this offense and mainly the receiving core.
Yeah, no, definitely agree there. Um, he did talk a lot about the receiving core and what it takes in order to improve that side of the offense, which I thought made a lot of sense. But you want to know what really jumped off the screen to me when it came to Todd Monken in that press conference, and even in the one-on-one interview he did with I think it was Garrett Downing on the Ravens channel. The guy is very, very articulate. With his words, the way that he talks a lot with his hands. He's very animated. You can tell he's passionate about the position. He's passionate about his job. And I think that that's something that we didn't necessarily get in Greg Roman all the time. Because when you talk about football the way that Todd Monken talks about football, it really it inspires, like, I don't know, I guess you could say like growth or whatever, but it's just the way he talks about football just in general is just inspiring to me. I took a lot from that. I feel like we didn't get a whole lot of innovation and a whole lot of creativity from Greg Roman. And I feel like just from what we're hearing so far from Todd Monken, we're in store for some changes when it comes to the offense. Now, one other big thing that stood out to me, he said something that really, really stuck out. He said, balance is not about run pass. Balance is about making the defense cover every inch of the field. And that could not be more true, because a lot of us football fans, a lot of us novice football fans, and I'll admit me being one myself, I I definitely tend to think that the balance in offense is between run and pass. But when I heard what Todd Monken said, I was like, that makes a lot more sense, because balance with run and pass means that you would be like 50-50. You're somewhere around there. But it's not necessarily about that. It's about doing what works. And that's another thing that Todd Monken is famous for as well. Like, if he has something that's working, he's going to stick with it, So just a lot of his nuances are already kind of spilling out through his words and what he's saying. But I'm very excited for what he's got coming out.
Yeah, I think you make a great point of when he was talking about when he talks with his hands. I noticed that a lot of hand movement. I just think he's excited to be here, honestly.
Yeah.
Like Black Daniel said, great point. He said Giro thought he deserved to be here. Monken wants to be here. And I can't agree with you enough there. I think, you got to think about what he did the past 2 years at Georgia. He literally blew out a team, national championship, beat the powerhouse in Alabama, who everybody thought was unbeatable.
Right.
And then coming back to the NFL after he was with the Browns, with the Bucks, turned down the Buccaneers to come here to Baltimore. I really do. I can't agree with you there enough. I mean, he wants to be here, and just hearing more about his offense, the two running backs, and I heard the two tight ends. We know he uses receivers, but hearing the two tight ends, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely. I'm going to buy all the stock in Isaiah Likely coming up this season, because I feel like when we saw him play and get the targets, he was making plays. That Bengals game in Week 18, he put up over 100 yards, I think 11 catches, or maybe it was 7, and then wasn't used in the playoff game. Hi to your dog in the background.
Yeah.
And then we know what he can do with receivers. And then also I'm looking forward to the draft. We have a little bit of intel on the Georgia guys coming out of the draft, offense and defense too. I mean, that kind of stuck out to me. I feel like we are going to be drafting somebody from Georgia. I don't know who it's going to be. It could be even one of their defensive backs. I know Keely Ringo's name I hear. But it just helps us out in so many ways. And like I said, I don't want to sound like a homer, but I am in love with the hiring.
Yeah, I mean, just all good things so far. And listen, guys, I know we got what, 6 months ahead of us of no football, and trying to just kind of speculate on what we think that Todd Monken is going to do. But this definitely passes the eye test so far, and the ear test. Like, what we're hearing from him is definitely very promising. Now let's see what some of you guys are saying in the chat. Elvito says Todd beat Mike McDonald last year in the college playoffs. Interesting point there.
A little bit of competition. Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah,
Get mad at that.
That'll be interesting in practice for sure, especially when it comes around times for those scrimmages, things like that. Oh yeah, they're gonna be going at it. Let me see what else you guys are saying. Sports Game YouTube says Todd was honest about what we should fix. Yeah, I mean, do you remember the I think he was talking to Downing when he said this, but he was talking about how he wouldn't put players in positions that they can't play. And I think he mentioned at one point, he was like, I'm not going to put a fullback out in space to like match up one-on-one with linebackers, try to get open, things like that. And I was just like, man, that is some it's kind of shady, a little shady.
Yeah, it's a little shady on this winter day. Yeah, I definitely picked it up too, and I think he doesn't really use fullbacks that much in the system. When it comes to those cap cuts, I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me if we don't see 42 on this team. It really wouldn't. Yeah, wow. I mean, I saw that I think it was all 22. I think he did it. It said he rarely uses fullbacks, and I was like, that stuck out to me because in the Giro offense, love them fullbacks. Your fullback he can line up receiver, line up its slot, tight end, fullback obviously, an extra lineman.
Well, see, the thing is, like, fullbacks are great in phone booth offenses, right? And that's what Greg Roman loved to run. Now, Todd Monken, from what I've heard so far, I mean, he loves to, like we've heard so far, he loves to get things out in space. So a lot of outside runs. I was watching all 22 films. I mean, like you just said, friend of the show. He's really good. Go subscribe to him as well. Does really good work. But I was watching one of his videos earlier, and he was like showing how, I mean, he loves to get his running backs out to the outside, to the perimeter, and seeing what they can do in space. So I think it's not only going to be a big year for guys like Isaiah Likely, but J.K. Dobbins should get all of the work that he wants to receive this year. I think that Todd Monken is definitely going to saddle him up and just kind of just ride him throughout the entire year. I mean, that's exactly what we're going to have to be doing with J.K. Dobbins. And I think that this offense, the way it's going to be designed, it's going to give J.K. Dobbins plenty of space and opportunities because you know what J.K. Dobbins can do out in space. I mean, running between the tackles, he's still great, but out in space, when it's just like one-on-one, like it's damn near impossible to tackle J.K. Dobbins one-on-one unless you just have him dead to rights, maybe off a screen. He just caught it, you wrap his legs up, fine. But just one-on-one, like if you try to hit stick him, things like that, no, I mean, he's not going down. So especially with blockers in front of him, it's going to be very interesting to see what he can do yards after the catch. He might even become one of the best league's receiving backs. I mean, I can just kind of throw that hot take out there right now. Next year, J.K. Dobbins, he's going to be a top 5 receiving back.
I think there was a play, I believe, in the wild card game where I think he caught it and kind of like toe tapped on the sideline and got, I think, 15, 20 yards, one of the longer plays of the game. So, and I think my hot take, I think week 1, he gets over 15 carries, J.K. Dobbins. I think that streak will come to an end. First game under the new OC. I think it'll kind of be, dare I say, forging a new identity, to use, somebody else's words. Because we saw how frustrated he was after that wild card game. And he had every reason to be. Yeah. Every reason.
Definitely. I mean, the more and more we talk about it, the more excited I get and the more and more I miss football. That's for sure.
And, it's just getting started. We have free agency coming. And listen, there is one player I want the Ravens to sign. We wanted him in 2021, I believe, to trade for him. DJ Chark. I would love for us to sign him and then obviously draft a receiver. I just think putting him next to Bateman, I've just been thinking about it a lot. And it just gets me more and more excited. Like, I want August to get here because depending what we do, with the draft, I think we'll draft well. But just this free agency class, and then I think it's a big year. I think we'll hit on a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, the whole, I think our attention will shift towards what wide receiver we're going to get. Probably in the next month or so. Because that's when does free agency start?
I think it starts like March. It's always like mid-March, I think. But it's weird now because with these teams with avoiding contracts, I believe there's already guys that are free to sign with anybody right now. I saw, I think James Bradbury, his contract got voided because something with the cap. And a couple other guys, I know for the Packers too, but I think mid-March is when free agency heats up.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, well, if that is the case, then I definitely think that in the next couple of weeks, next 2 weeks, we're going to start seeing, a lot more speculation on who the Ravens might be bringing in at wide receiver. And they've already got their offensive coordinator. It's right on time. He can have his input. The word input is actually pretty interesting. I wanted to kind of shift to this, Alex.
Okay.
We got news on Friday, right?
Okay.
That Lamar Jackson didn't really get any input when it came to, well, not really. I'm not even going to use the word really. He didn't get any input when it came to hiring Todd Monken. We were led to believe as fans that he had, input, but apparently he didn't. And there's multiple kind of ways that you can confirm that. Stephen A. Smith said it on First Take the other day, and we don't know exactly how credible Stephen A. Smith can be, but it's something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a credible analyst, like sports broadcast or whatever. So it's something. And then also there was the fact that Todd Monken had just came out recently and said that he had not talked to like anybody on the offense, things like that at all. So more evidence that maybe Lamar didn't get a shot at talking about this. But what did you think about that?
Hearing the way he talked about it, it sounded like he intended for Lamar to be his quarterback in 2023 and beyond. But I feel like they definitely had that conversation. Well, what if he isn't here? What is your plans? Because you have to have that conversation. Because it's as the days go on. Me personally, I just think it's kind of leaning more towards he'll be gone. That's just the sad truth. I'm realizing.
Yeah.
It sucks. It really sucks. But just imagining him, in a perfect world is back here. It was nice to hear that he didn't talk to anybody. It's one thing if you would have talked to, let's say Mark Andrews, Ronnie Stanley, and Rashad Bateman. Then I would have been like, okay, we have a problem. But the fact he didn't talk to anybody kind of makes me feel better. But it's just, I know you see it. Every day it's a different report, and it's like recycled reports. And it really, it's annoying. Like, it's like something we knew 3 months ago that we talked about on here. Mix around a couple of words, go on thesaurus.com, make one word sound a little different, and that's your headline. Like, it is just, I don't think we've seen anything like this in some time, I think. Like, just with a contract situation. I'm trying to think of a contract that was this high profile. I remember that, like, the LeBron decision. I remember that was really high profile. Baseball. I'm trying to think of one. Could be actually no, because Aaron Judge went back to the Yankees. So I can't think of one. It's hard.
Yeah, man. It's the whole situation does kind of make me feel indifferent about it at this point because I mean, as Ravens fans, like like you just said, we've been going through this for so long now. Like it's been quite literally years. We've been kind of speculating, talking about this whole situation, and I'm kind of in the same boat as you. Like it seems like it's trending towards us not having him next season, and the reason why I say that is because that if there was a deal that was going to get done, I feel like it would have gotten done by now.
Indeed.
And it just hasn't. And it, I think also the report came out saying that the Ravens have offered $133 million. They offer 133 guaranteed. When I think it was, how much did Kyler Murray get guaranteed? Do you remember?
I think upper 190s. I can look it up right now.
Was that all guaranteed money, or was that just his full contract?
Kyler, I'm sorry, 5 years, 230.5, $29 million signing bonus, and $189 million guaranteed.
Whew. Wow. Yeah, I mean, if that is true, that the Ravens only offered Lamar Jackson $133 million, and you got Kyler Murray running around with $189 million guaranteed, he's gone. He's probably gone, because that's a slap in the face, quite literally.
Lamar Jackson I think he's 2 or 3 tiers above Kyler Murray.
I mean, team, he has more regular season success. He has more playoff success. And that's the one knock that a lot of people have on Lamar Jackson.
That's my
And he's
thing.
got more. Yeah.
I just saw a tweet talking about like the Kyler Murray disrespect is insane. Yeah, I mean, I can understand why, but I looked at their record. I mean, nothing that they had the one playoff when they put up 11 points. You have, granted, I know the Ravens. We put up 12 in 2019. We put up, how much was it against the Chargers? I think it was like, I want to say like, was it 20? I know we had the 2 touchdowns like the Crabtree. But he didn't have DeAndre Hopkins. He didn't have James Conner. Like, he has these guys. Kyler does. They can't draft. His front office didn't help him drafting wise. But I look at that. Like, I just think about Lamar having these weapons, man. They traded for Robbie Anderson. I know Ravens fans wanted. Didn't really do too much. Or I'm sorry, it's Chosen Anderson. He changed his name. Changed his name.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I got to get it right. They traded for Chosen Anderson, and I look at the Ravens. I'm like, what do? We gave him Deshaun Jackson and said, here. I think 2020 had a better chance of winning a championship in 2019. We signed Des Bryant, and that's all. Like,
expected that to get the job done. I mean, it's clear and obvious. I mean, we know this by now that the Ravens they don't really want to invest a lot of capital into proven offensive talent. I mean, you think that you go back and look at all the players that produced for us on offense: J.K. Dobbins, Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, Gus Edwards, guys like that. They're all homegrown drafted guys. We don't really typically get guys on offense coming in from other teams who produce for us. Now on defense all day long. We'll go out on defense and get the
Roquan Smith,
cream of the crop. Roquan,
come on down,
and a Marcus Williams, a Marcus Peters a few years ago. We'll get all the big names. All the big names. We might even
Justin
dabble
Houston,
a Unique Ngakoue just because he's a name.
Yeah.
But with offense, it's just like if it's draft or bust. It's draft or bust, and I think there needs to be a shift in that philosophy. Make a little bit more balance, like Todd Monken said. I mean, balance is making the defense cover all inches of the field. I mean, balance as a GM is making other teams' GMs stack their roster just like how you're doing it, and make sure that they can contend everywhere at every position. So, but yeah.
And I saw there was a tweet from Warren Sharp that like the Ravens have invested the least amount of money in the league in their offense, and I think the Colts were number one, but you got to look at the quarterbacks. I mean, they were paying Carson Wentz how much money, paying Matt Ryan how much money. With the Ravens, we had a quarterback on a rookie contract, and we still really couldn't put a lot around him. I mean, the line, great. Tight ends, great. Running backs, great. Receivers, guys who were good when, in like Madden 11, Madden 12, Madden 13.
Yeah. Way past their prime. Something's got to change about that, which is why I want us to make a big splash when it comes to a wide receiver. So if it's not a Keenan Allen, if it's not a Mike Evans, if it's not a D Hop, then like honestly, you can save it for me. I just don't.
I mean, that's why I take DJ Chark in the first round receiver. I think that in a Bateman, I would love it because Chark made the Pro Bowl. He made the Pro Bowl. I mean, he wasn't a specialist Pro Bowl. He was a wide receiver Pro Bowler. I think he had Blake Bortles thrown to him too. But speaking of Mike Evans, I mean, I would not hate a Mike Evans, from Tampa, and we also have our guy Engraven, Florida Engraven in the chat. So how you doing, Engraven? Thank you for coming through.
Team Keep It Clean. Shout out to Team Keep It Clean.
Indeed.
But yeah, man. I mean, I love Bateman, and I still think that Bateman can be the. I was gonna say Bateman can be the buy. Bateman can be the guy, but I need a Bateman backup. I need somebody who, like, if he was to go down or whatever, or if he's just not producing one specific Sunday, then I need a proven guy who can go out there and get it with Lamar. I mean, more guys for Lamar to trust as pass catchers, period. So hopefully we can get some guys in who can make that happen for us.
Yeah, I think it's time. I mean, I think our defense, like we've talked about it, is set. I think what we need is we can just fill up in the draft, but I want to see this, go heavy offense. I think they wanted like a first for Judy. I can't get behind a first for Jerry Judy. I can't.
Yeah, that is a little steep, right? For
Because they
Jerry
need
Judy.
picks. The Broncos, like they gave up the picks for Russell, gave it up for Sean Payton. Yeah, they're like, you got any more than picks?
We got our first super chat donation. This one coming
Insider
from Max
Max.
Offit. You already
Insider
know.
Max.
Our guy Max, we appreciate you, bro, making it rain
Thank
here on
you.
episode 155 of the Purple Rain podcast. Max the GOAT says, I'm going to try to speak Cooper Kupp to Ravens into existence. Don't they need draft capital? Yeah. Cooper Kupp to the Ravens?
It's crazy because Steve Smith, I think when they drafted him in 2016 or 2017, said he was the best receiver in the draft. Steve Smith got laughed at. Now look at him. Cooper Kupp, baller, coming off of that I word. They do need draft capital. I think they're about to blow it up. I think this is Aaron Donald's last year.
Yeah.
I don't think Matt Stafford will be as good as he was in 2021. I think his, nagging I word that hurt him last year is going to affect him this year. They just released Bobby Wagner. They're going to trade Jalen Ramsey. They're about to blow it up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not worth. It doesn't hurt to call him. Les Snead, how you doing? Give him a call.
You're right. It doesn't hurt to call them. But if they're giving away Cooper Kupp, if they're giving him up, then they're really blowing it up. Like they're blowing up everything. Now, speaking of blowing things up, we do have another super chat donation. This one coming from I don't even know where this one is coming from. Like, where is he pulling up from, Alex?
I'm stealing Black Daniels once again. He said, Raven Ron from the Milky Way.
From the Milky Way. Not even this
Milky
galaxy.
Way. From the Milky
goodness.
Way.
Raven Ron. Oh my God. Thank you, bro. I mean, you
talk
about making it rain.
I'm speechless.
This isn't even like making it rain, man. Like this is harder than that. This is like hail. You ever like hail?
Yeah. Hail.
Yeah. It's hard.
And not just any hail, like
hard.
golf ball. Yeah. Golf ball hail.
He's going hard with this one. Appreciate you, Raven Ron. Definitely a Purple Rain pioneer for that. We appreciate you, bro. Says, what up, PRP? I had to pull up from deep today. LOL. We need either D-Hop or Mike Evans today. Todd needs to demand that Lamar stay.
Raven Ron, thank you, number one.
Yeah.
I know I've mentioned this before, and I know Sutton will back me on this. Last year, we gave Mike McDonald anything. We gave him a safety ball hawk. We gave you a first-round athletic freak. We gave you a Roquan Smith. We drafted David Ajabo, who you had in college. Gave him, what he wanted. Like a kid going to the candy store. You have this amount of money. Go get anything you want.
Right.
I want that for Todd Monken. What he wants, you get it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only way that this offense is really going to change its identity is if you let him actually take control of the offense. And that really does kind of boil down to Harbs and EDC, kind of a mixture between the two. We know that they're neighbors. I'm sure they talk a lot about these sort of things. But yeah, hopefully they do give the keys, like the full keys to the offense to Todd Monken and see what he can do with it. Now, like Raven Ron said, D-Hop or Mike Evans, I'm in the same boat. We need one of those like all-star, like perennial guys in order for us to take things to the next level, because with guys with names like that, who are still very relevant in this league today, not only do they give you the physical advantage of like their physical abilities, capabilities, and things like that, but the defense also has to account for them and respect them and worry about them all game, which opens up opportunities for all of your other skill positions. So that's why I really think that we would benefit from one of these guys, like my guy Raven Ron said.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna pull up, just some stats. I mean, who doesn't, who doesn't like stats? I'll just talk about a certain receiver that actually Todd Monken coached. 2014, 1,051, 2015, 1,200, 2016, 1,300, 2017, 1,000, 2018, 1,500, 2019, 1,100, 2020, 1,000, 2021, 1,000, 2022, 1,100. Who could that be? Mike Evans.
Yeah.
Think about the quarterbacks he had before Tom Brady. Jameis Winston, Ryan Fitzpatrick, a couple other guys too, I'm pretty sure. Like,
he knows his strengths. I mean, it sounds like a match made in heaven. Yeah, I know they've had to have at least talked about it. You know, Eric DaCosta, Harbs, all those guys. They've had to at least have the discussion, like, okay, what do you guys say we go ahead and get Mike Evans this year and really make it a no excuses year, truly, for the offense, new offensive coordinator, somebody who is clearly better with passing offenses, get you a stud wide receiver on top of having a young stud wide receiver, stud at quarterback. The only thing is EDC is going to have to figure out a way for all this to work underneath the cap.
Yep. And I've seen people say, well, Mike Evans, he has problems staying on the field. 15 games, 16, 15, 16, 13, 16, 16, 15.
A lot of teens, yeah.
Yeah. Missed 2 this year. We had missed 3 in 2019, missed 1 in 2017, missed 2 in 2015? That sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah. Not gonna lie. Again, Raven Ron, thank you so much for your super chat donation, man. Does not go unnoticed. We appreciate you, bro. Pulling up from downtown, like Max office said,
like Black Daniel said. He said from the Milky Way. That's the one. That's the one, the Milky Way, and not the candy bar.
Not the candy bar. Raven Ron, Purple Rain Pioneer. Blessings to you, brother. We appreciate you. Let me see. So, all right. Alex, we do have a couple more things to get into on this episode. I want to go ahead and let you talk about the new hirings at certain coaching positions for the Ravens. What's been going on with that?
So we had James Urban at quarterback coach, and I kind of thought about him as the meme, like, what does he do? Because Lamar got his own quarterback coach in the offseason. So why didn't he use you? Why didn't he give you a call? Meet up together. I mean, I'm sure James Urban wouldn't hate to go to Florida. I would love that.
Right.
But we actually gave that to T. Martin. And this is the same T. Martin that the Bills interviewed for OC, the Colts interviewed him for OC. We said, you're going to go from the wide receivers coach to the quarterback coach. And I personally love it. I believe he was at USC when Sam Darnold was there. He made Sam Darnold look like a first-round pick. I think they'll have a great chemistry. We'll be doing some great things together. I'm just going to speak as if he is our quarterback for the years and beyond. I'm going to speak that into the universe. But yeah, I thought that was honestly pretty surprising. I know Urban's kind of a hardball guy. I wasn't expecting that at all.
Yeah. I mean, I want to ask you this. Do you think that the fact that they moved T. Martin from wide receiver coach to QB coach, and I assume but wait a minute. He was a wide receiver coach, and then Keith is the passing game coordinator, right?
Indeed.
So we're still keeping Keith. There's no news about him, right?
Yeah, which I'm thinking, like, would he be their new receivers coach?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder how that's going to work, especially with Monken in town now.
Right. I mean, hey, I know he's cool with Devontae Adams. I wouldn't hate Devontae Adams coming to Baltimore. But that's another day for another story.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then another one was Willie Taggart. We talked about him when he was here for an interview, and we we gave our opinions on that if he was going to be our new OC. He's actually our running backs coach now. Harbaugh, he's going to have a spot for you. Didn't really, I could care less. I mean, running back coach, I think it was like Craig Vanderstad, I think was the last guy. But this, I know Willie, we talked about the Gulf Coast offense he ran, how it was very running back driven. So he knows a thing or two about his running backs. Don't hate that. And then I think the big one for me, we parted ways with Steve Saunders. Same Steve Saunders in 2020 gave the team the virus.
Yeah, right.
2021 we had lots of I words, and he's notoriously been told, called out by multiple players, Derek Wolfe, Matt Judon. believe Sean Elliott as well, about his strength and conditioning being a little too much. A little too much. We parted ways with him. Sayonara, don't let the door hit you on the rear end because you had multiple fired offenses and we kept you. So wish you the best of luck. But yeah.
It's actually funny because he didn't have a terrible year this year when it came to the I words.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was probably time to go though.
We had to like bring in a whole outside person to like monitor the way we train. Like we had to move our training camp from the morning to the afternoon. Like we had to make so many changes because of what happened. Like it's
yeah. There were a lot of adjustments made in the off season. There was a guy who was hired, so I think work alongside him. His name is escaping me right now.
Yeah.
I made a whole video about him like last summer. I just can't remember at the moment.
Kind of work. I'll take it.
All right. So let's go ahead. Let's see what you guys are talking about in the chat here.
Yeah.
We're gonna open it up to some questions. Let's do some questions so we can kind of go back and forth. Me and Alex haven't talked to each other like this in a little while, so I'm sure we probably have questions for each other. I have a question for him. Start things out.
Okay.
And you guys can ask questions about anything. Literally anything. It can be about Ravens football. It can be about NFL, other sports, NBA.
Yeah.
Damian Lillard.
I saw you talk about Damian
points.
Lillard.
Yeah. Anything. But
it's crazy. People didn't know about that. People didn't know. How do you not know about 71 points like that?
Yeah, they just don't care because, I mean, Portland, small market team. Dame never really amounted to any real postseason success in his long tenure in the NBA. And it's just, we know what he's capable of. We know he's capable of going out there and just pulling up from the logo and getting hot. I mean, he hit like 13 threes. He hit 13 threes. Yeah. It's just insane. That's ridiculous.
Unreal.
But yeah, I did want to ask you about that Jake Paul fight. Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury fight happened yesterday. I actually got the chance to watch the entire thing from start to finish. Did you?
I did. I wasn't gonna watch. I was like, I'm not gonna watch it. And then somehow it just got on the TV. Just obviously didn't pay for it. I wasn't gonna pay for that. Just watched it. I didn't realize Tommy Fury was built like that. I apologize. I wasn't familiar with your game. That was me last night. That was the Shaq meme. It was me and came out looking good. I mean, I think Jake was like, what did I get myself into? Because Tommy, like, unlike these other guys, Tommy, he's not some has been very old. He's what, 23, 22 and going into his prime. I'm obviously not a big boxing guy, but it was a good fight. It's better than I expected. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was better than I expected as well. I think that they got the decision absolutely 100% right. Tommy Fury won the fight. I was so glad that they did not swing it to Jake Paul for that last-minute knockdown that he had. And I think the last round, that was just the knockdown. Yes, it was a knockdown, but it was definitely a little bit of slipping in there as well. I think he was just a little bit off balance before the punch even landed on him. So, can't really put too much stock into that. I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah.
They got it right. And like you said, Tommy Fury, he actually looked pretty good. There are some things that, he needs to improve on, and he's still young in his career.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but he showed a lot. He boxed up Jake Paul for pretty much most of the fight, stayed away from the big overhand right. And we saw that Jake Paul in this fight, he was tested. Like, by the end of the third round, you could tell that Jake Paul was like, he knew he was in for a fight. Like, this is not going to be like any of the other ones where, we're kind of playing patty cake, and then boom, I knocked you out. It wasn't really like that. It was more so like, okay, we're going back and forth. And you saw Jake Paul start to kind of resort to dipping his head to the floor and just winging overhand rights,
Yep.
And I assume that's probably what he is conditioned to do when he's under a lot of pressure. He's never been put under pressure like that before. You know what they say, when you're put under the most pressure, that's when you really see who you are, and that's who he is as a fighter. And we've seen that a lot.
Yeah.
But overall, good fight.
Yeah. I mean, he took some big hits too. Props to him for not getting knocked out or to get knocked down because he was eating some of them. So definitely entertaining. And it was in Saudi Arabia and it was weird. They showed Cristiano Ronaldo there. Didn't have that one on my bingo card at all.
Ronaldo was in the building. That's crazy. gonna lie. Let's see. Questions. Jonathan Washington Jr. says,
Ooh.
Sutton, do the Sixers blow it up if they do not make at least the conference finals this season? When you say blow it up, I assume you mean just get rid of Harden, because I don't think that they're moving off of Embiid. I don't think that they're gonna. That's not happening. The Embiid is a monster. That's their guy. Drafted him, and he's been amazing for them ever since. I mean, he has had the I word bug a little bit in his career, but for such a big guy at center, that's bound to happen. Like all big guys, that get banged up over time. But no, I don't think that they blow it up. I mean, there's a lot of good competition right now. The Celtics are really, really good. They're a really good basketball team. Now, they could very well play the Celtics in the conference finals. So if they don't make it there and they lose to one of these other teams in the East, then I could see your point, but still, I don't think that they're getting rid of Embiid regardless, man.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. Man, you won a trophy.
I was kind of upset that 3 didn't count against the Celtics.
Oh, me too.
I was.
Me too.
The NBA has been on something. Like, the script this past week for the NBA, top tier. Like,
I guess he was playing tonight. It's probably gonna be some crazy stuff happening tonight too. But yeah, Tyler says, "Man, you won a trophy. What do you guys think?"
Congrats. It's the Carabao Cup trophy. Congrats to them. They won under their manager. Fortunately, I am not a Man U fan. I'm a proud Arsenal fan, and we are looking on a bigger and better things. I'm gonna say. But it was very. I mean, I knew they were going to be Newcastle. Newcastle didn't stand a chance. Had a third string goalie in. Yeah, they were never going to lose that. So congrats to Man U. Rashford's in amazing form.
You're making it sound like it's like a Mickey Mouse trophy or something. Oh, okay.
It is. All right. Yeah. I mean, FA Cup, I think they could win that. But yeah, if you look at, they played some pretty small teams, but a trophy is a trophy at the end of the day. So I got to give that to them, though.
For sure. We do have another super chat donation. This one's coming from Asmodeus. Appreciate you, Asmodeus, man, making it rain here on this episode of PRP, episode 155. It's a real Suggs episode.
Yeah.
Like the video, guys, just for that. Like the video for Asmodeus. We appreciate him. We appreciate you. Says monk mode, #monk mode. When offense pops off, branding it now.
Monk mode. I like that. Monk mode.
You know, I'm gonna just start. I'm gonna put it out right now. I'm gonna claim it early in the off season. I'm gonna start calling. Todd Monken. I'm gonna call him Big T. That's my name from him. I'm calling him Big T.
Okay.
Yeah. That's how I'm referring to Monken. Yeah.
I was thinking of Monk Mania.
In case Monk Mania.
Like Hulkamania, Monk Mania. I like how we are like this guy. We haven't seen a play at all from him. And we already given him nicknames.
When there's 6 months left until football's back, you're coming up with nicknames for your offensive coordinator that you just hired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like that. Big T. I like that. I think we're gonna see him I guess just him in that booth, man. I really hope he just they let him be him. Don't tell him, you can't celebrate. No, I want to see that. I want to see him just go throw the clipboard after a big play or celebrate. I don't know, man, but that first Lamar to Mike Evans touchdown is going to hit different. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. We'll just leave it at that. Thank you so much again, Asmodeus, for your super chat donation. Says Dre says, have y'all checked out any wide receivers in this year's draft? And if so, who do y'all like?
Haven't done a lot. I know mainly about the first rounders. JSN. Heard about Jalen Hyde, how he could go second, maybe late first. Quentin Johnson from TCU, Zay Flowers. I like JSN. I would like him if we got Chark as well. I mean, I would like a first round receiver anyway. I think it's time we start, I mean, we had Hollywood, Bateman, and Watkins, and I thought that was looking pretty good. And then Hollywood requested out because, Greg Roman. But now, you get a first rounder paired up with Bateman, and then you get maybe, let's say, you get a Mike Evans, and then you have a Duvernay as your 4. I think that's a pretty good number 4 to have. So, yeah.
See, me personally, I'm not really with the whole drafting a receiver in the first round because my thing is I don't think that we have time to develop, a
That's true.
receiver and make him into what we want him to be. And you do have like kind of like the one-offs like Jamar Chases and the Justin Jeffersons of the world who come in and make an immediate impact. But making an immediate impact at wide receiver out of the draft is like unknown for this franchise. Like that
Yeah.
just doesn't happen. Like no receiver that we've drafted has come in straight out, rookie season and just like, killing it. I mean, Torrey Smith,
I mean, he was a two.
maybe like
He was never a
never
one.
really. Yeah. So yeah, I don't really
What?
know about drafting a wide receiver in first round.
Okay, so here's one thing: if we don't get one in the first round, I think it's time we look at Maryland. Look at Raheem Jarrett. We've passed on these Maryland receivers. We passed on DJ Moore, passed on Stephon Diggs. I think it's time you look at them. I mean, they're down the road. I'm just,
Raheem Jarrett, who is that? I'm
he's gonna
sorry, I don't know.
he's gonna be a day probably around 3 or 4 receiver.
Oh,
Yeah, but I'm tired of us seeing Maryland talent when it's down the road, and we let it pass. That's if we don't get a first rounder. We don't have a second rounder, but yeah.
yeah. I'm definitely definitely unfamiliar with his game for sure.
Hey, I
I
know
got to check
because
him
I
out.
I got friends who go to UMD, so like I heard about him and then I looked at him and he's not a first round talent, but something about them UMD receivers, man. I mean, what are they feeding him? DJ
Hmm.
Moore, Stephon Diggs, Black Daniels, former 5-star recruit, and he has the skills to pay the bills.
All right, let's see. We got another question. This one's coming from Sports Gaming YouTube. Says, "What would you trade for Mike Evans to get him in Baltimore?" Let's see. What do the Bucks need? They
The
need
Bucks
a run
need
game.
they need a free cap, is what they need.
Mm,
Um, I mean, I saw him as a cap casualty. If he's a cap casualty, you can offer him a 3 or a 4 because they're
yeah.
going to release him either way. I would have. I mean, we don't have our second this year, but then we take our second next year. I can have that. I know we value second round picks a lot, but Mike Evans is Mike Evans, and he's not even 30 years old yet, and he's put up 7, 8 straight 1,000-yard seasons with inconsistency at quarterback his first couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, this Mike Evans, just getting him in Baltimore, period. I feel like we would have to do whatever it takes, to be honest. Like, if you got to move off them picks, I'm sorry, EDC, but move off them damn picks, man. Like,
F
we know
them
how much he
picks.
loves them. Yeah, exactly. It's got to happen. All right, we'll take a couple more here before we get out of here.
I love how we're all aligned though on like we gotta fix this receiving core, like, and not just a band-aid, not a Sammy Watkins, not a Deshaun Jackson, like big time. I
Yeah,
like this. This is like a rare moment in PRP history.
let's see. My guy Chike says, "Hey guys, what's up, Chike?" Says, "How many pieces, in your opinion, do you think we need to compete with our rivals? These rivals are the Kansas City Chiefs, the Bengals, the Bills, those teams, not the Steelers. How many pieces away are we, do you think, from being basically championship contenders?"
I think defense wise,
Yeah.
maybe one or two, cornerback and an edge rusher. Offense, I'll go two receivers. That's about it.
Yeah, I would say like two receivers on offense, and I mean defense. I really think that with the pairing of at least competent offense, we're making a deep playoff run. Defense as is. Just take the defense as we have it
Yeah,
right now, and just give us an offense that can score just 20 a game. Just give us 20 a game. Maybe 23. Just be on the safe side, and I feel like we can make a deep playoff run because I
yeah.
mean the defense is holding teams to under 15 consistently.
I mean, Black Daniels, like once again, corner, edge, receiver. Those are I think our 3 needs. Outside of that, anything else kind of luxury.
Mm.
I wouldn't hate, maybe another defensive tackle, to think in life after Calais, because we say this is his last year, but I think this really would be his last year. We don't know if I think Justin Houston played himself into a nice contract. Um, I think linebacker is good. Safeties are good. I mean, if we let go of Chuck Clark, I think Geno Stone can step in there. We have Kyle Hamilton. And
Yeah.
defense is looking pretty damn stout.
Defense is looking stout, man. I mean, and like I said, man, they were holding teams consistently to under 20 points, under 15 points last
Because
season.
we couldn't score 20 points.
It's just we couldn't score. Exactly. We couldn't score. All right. So like I said, just a few more here. I do see one from my guy Adit says thoughts on Robert Woods. T. Martin coached him for a year at USC. How would you feel about Robert Woods coming into this offense?
No, I wouldn't like it.
Just
I
not
want to look at this. Last year, 53 catches, 527. I mean, that would have been receiver one on our team.
right.
Then the year before, 45 catches, 556, 4 touchdowns, and he tore his ACL. I just feel that'd be a typical Ravens receiver signing. And but I think with him, they would say, okay, well, we got you Robert Woods. I'm gonna give you a 6th-round receiver. You're good.
Yeah, nah. That would piss me off so bad if that's how they moved with it. Like, yeah, we got you Robert Woods, right? No excuses now, right? We got you the wide receiver you want. Like, no, that's EDC knows better than that. He should at least.
Yep.
I did see a question in here. Yolanda says thoughts on Lamar to Washington.
Please
no.
Please no.
Please God, no. Yeah. It's just an overall no. I don't no. Let's see. Black Daniel says thoughts on Bieniemy to Washington. Unless that's what they're plotting for. Bieniemy is trying to get Lamar to come to Washington with him. Then I don't know. Maybe I don't know. But Bieniemy to Washington, that one is kind of weird to me. I don't think that it's for me. It's like okay, so if I'm a Washington Commanders fan, because it's just like, do you? I mean, you have the personnel somewhat to make some noise, but do you have the quarterback? Eric Bieniemy is coming from Patrick Mahomes, arguably the best quarterback, the most skilled quarterback of all time. When all things are considered, he's going from that to a guy who, Sam Howell. And I heard somebody say like Patrick Mahomes has more Super Bowl MVPs than Sam Howell has starts in the NFL.
Oh,
that is when you really think about it like that, it's crazy, and you don't really know what Bieniemy is going to be able to do with him. So if I'm a Commanders fan, I'm just like, hey, I'll believe it when I see it.
I feel like I'm going to get slack for this, and yeah, I'll take it. Greg Roman would have been a better 1-year coordinator, I think, his first year than Bieniemy, just because that run game. I feel like Bieniemy kind of has to dumb down the offense a little bit. I don't mean that in any disrespect, but like you said, Sam Howell's played one game.
Yeah.
I like it for Terry McLaurin, for Jahan Dotson. I like it for those. I think they have the skill position players. The Commanders are literally that quarterback. Who knows what they could do, but they have the receivers. I think they have the running backs. Lack a true, top 7 tight end. But I hope it works for him. I really do. I hope that Bieniemy balls out, because I think he's going to be their head coach after their bye. I think he'll be their head coach.
Ooh, that's interesting. If they start off really bad, like, maybe start off like I don't know, 2-7, something like that. I don't know whenever their bye is going to be, and then they're just like, you know what, Ron Rivera out, Bieniemy, here's your shot. That would be interesting. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
The thing that sucks is just their ownership. I feel bad for their fans in that case, because they gotta sell that team.
Yeah. Schneider's got to go. Let's see. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up with this one from Adit Mahmood, a super chat donation here, making it rain on this episode 155 of the Purple Rain Podcast. Thank you, Adit. We appreciate you, bro. It says, I feel like Lamar is going to ignore the players' union and sign for 80% in total guarantees. The conflicting reports sound like a schism between them.
And there's like the total guarantees, and there's like that's why I don't pay attention to contracts. They confuse me. I was pretty good at math. But just like hearing like there's like the full, like what you get up front, that's the bonuses, and then like what they get guaranteed, and then the total guarantees. It's like I don't have time for this. But I just want them to sign with the Ravens at this point. I pay them. I think we've talked about what we think we would give him. We're not GMs, but at this point, I want to see him back in black and purple and in the Ravens purple, not the Vikings purple.
Yeah.
But the conflicting report, I agree with you there. I mean, it's just a new report and it's just nonstop every day. It's like, let's say it's 11 o'clock. You're at work for a little, pop on Twitter, and it's just a new first take. First things first. Just a new report. With Jeff Darlington, Jeremy Fowler, one of those guys talking about it.
Ian Rappaport, those guys.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
So
Yep.
With the whole contract thing, yeah, we it's really it is kind of annoying to talk about at this point. Like, you know, and as a Ravens fan, you always have people will come up to you and they'll ask you like, "Hey, how do you guys feel about Lamar? Like, you think you're gonna sign Lamar? What's gonna happen with Lamar?" I'm just like, bro, I don't know. Like, just stop.
I have a story for you.
Yeah.
I flew out of Dulles, and as I'm about to board my flight, I was wearing my Ravens sweatshirt, Charm City, and this guy's like, "The Ravens just signed Lamar. 6 years, $280 million, $240 million guaranteed." I'm like,
drove the fuck out of you.
No. Like, he's like, "You hear?" I'm like, I have on like all the Twitter notifications for like Hensley, the Ravens, Rappaport, Schefter. I'm like, no, I didn't hear. I'm like, where did you see that? He's like, oh, they just announced it. I'm like, yeah.
It's like, sure, bud.
I'm like, please, like, let me enjoy this flight in peace. I'm like, it's like
announced it.
Right. It's like, yeah, the random guy in the airport just broke the Lamar. It was Lamar's agent. That's who just leaked it to me. You know, it's like, oh my gosh. I was like, and I know what you mean about just being a Raven fan, them talking about it because they think we know something that they don't.
Right.
We don't know anything.
Yeah, exactly. All I know is that it's a very loaded question. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's to the point where the people who get paid millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars to figure this stuff out, they haven't been able to figure it out over the past 2, almost 3 years. So it is what it is. We'll just have to wait and see. But we definitely will have some answers here soon. I would say in the next 60 days. I would say. I'd say we'd hear something. You know.
I think that's spot on because the draft is around late April. I think that's spot on. 60 days. Yeah. And the countdown begins.
Yeah, time is ticking. We're gonna go ahead and leave it there for this episode, though. Listen, before we get out of here, just first and foremost, thank you guys for watching the show. Before we get out of here, make sure you follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast, just like you see down below. Follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Sutton Def. By the way, I have a special request for you guys. Send me, like, in my DMs, draft prospects that you would like the Ravens to look at. Please send them to me because I'm starting to do my dive on, draft players and things like that. I want to know what you guys know and what you guys think would be good options for us. So make sure you DM me on Twitter or Instagram. It's at Sutton Def. I'd be, very happy about that. This guy over here, Simply as 10 on Twitter, at Simply as 10 on Instagram, at Simply as 10.prod.
It's funny. I know a guy who knows a lot of draft prospects. One Huddle Up Films. He this is his thing.
Yeah.
Definitely have to get in contact with him because he has his whole big board. I mean, he was talking about Travis Jones last year. I mean, who watches Connecticut football? I didn't even know they had a football.
Yeah.
I just knew their basketball, women's and men's. So I have to get in contact with him.
Yeah, Jason loves him some football. We should have him back on the show. I mean, it's off season now. I mean, it's probably about our time to start having guests back on. Features, things of the sort. So yeah, stay tuned. A lot coming down the pipe. So let's see. Last but not least, we do have our sponsor, Manscaped. Make sure you go on manscaped.com. You can order anything, and I mean anything, off the website, and you will save 20% off. Just use our code PRP. Not only do you get 20% off, but you also get free shipping as well, and that's always the kicker. So make sure you go on manscaped.com and use our code PRP. With that being said, again, thank you guys so much for coming out to this episode, but I'm going to let my guy Alex take us out.
Black Daniels hold up. He just gave us some news. He said he has a young boy committed to UConn football, just graduated, freshman lineman. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be the offensive version of Travis Jones, drafted in the NFL draft. Come on now. I'm gonna say it right here, February 27th, 8:08 p.m. Your son, future NFL lineman. Let's leave it there.
UConn football. That's what's up.
Yeah, now I know. I'm gonna have to watch it. I'll watch games now. I'll find a stream. But thank you for coming through. to episode 155 of the Purple Rain Podcast. And as always, stay positive, test negative, and one more thing.
And never, ever, ever forget to call God, man. This has been episode 155 of the Purple Rain Podcast. We're going to catch you guys